Bringing our attention to the back of the head. Notice the weight of the head as it rests on the mat. Does it feel like we're resting? If there was a line, the imaginary line drawn down the center of our body, dividing the body right and left, does it feel as if we're resting in a centered place in the back of our skull? Does it feel heavier perhaps on the right side or the left side? Is one side more apparent and the other side feels as if it's on vacation and we don't sense it at all? Just noticing. And coming down now with our awareness and attention, we come to the pelvis. Again, invoking the imaginary center line, noticing the right side and the left side. How is the pelvis resting on the floor? Is there more sensation on one side or the other? Perhaps feels a little heavier, or we feel like there's not much sensation at all on one side? Or can we feel the center point of the pelvis, the sacrum, and rest there? And now we bring our attention to our feet. So keeping the feet on the ground, lift the toes, spread them, and then release the toes to the floor. And now we scan the right foot, noticing where the weight is focused here. Is it the inner edge, the outer edge? Maybe a little further toward the toes or a little deeper in the heels, just noticing. And then we do the same with the left foot. How is the foot weighted? Are we tipping in a little bit, tipping out, forward or back? Let's move a little bit. Let's begin with the feet. We're going to roll onto the inner edge of the right foot and the outer edge of the left foot, noticing how that action takes us to the left side of the pelvis. Maybe even noticing how that action travels all the way up the spine to the left side of the head. And then we come back to center, to our center, to our neutral. Pause. And now we take the outer edge of the right foot, the inner edge of the left foot. Maybe noticing the right side of the pelvis weight gets weighted. And maybe the head turns a little bit to the right. Back to center. Now walking the feet out wide, maybe as wide as the mat. We're going to drop the knees windshield wiper style to the left side. So the right leg is pressing toward the left side. We're going to open that leg, flatten the foot so the foot stands, and then we're going to close it. So we're rolling onto the inner edge of the right foot. Then we come back to the whole foot standing on the mat. So depending on the length of your legs, you may want to shorten the stance just a little bit to make sure that full action of the foot connecting with the floor when the leg opens is present. Now we're going to pause here, bring the left knee back, the right knee's back. We probably have a stance that feels pretty good when we go to the right side. Now excuse me, when we go to the left side, now we're going to go to the right side. We're going to roll to the outer edge of the right foot, the inner edge of the left foot. And then we're going to open the left knee back up, flattening the foot, standing on that foot. Then we bring it back toward the right side. So now we're doing what's called pandiculating the left leg. Then we're going to come back to a neutral position. We're going to do this again, and now we're going to add the right arm. So when we're going to drop into the windshield wiper. So when the knee is open, the hand is down. So my right knee is pointing at the ceiling. I'm standing on my right foot. And then when I tip in, I'm going to slide my arm up and look to the right. And then when I come back to that neutral position, the arm slides down, the head comes back to center. As we're sliding the arm, notice if the shoulder doesn't like this, don't go so high. If the neck doesn't like it, don't have to turn the head. But now we're working the right side of the body. And then we're going to pause. Come back to neutral. Notice the right and the left side. And now the knees come to the right side. You may notice a big difference between the right and the left. So when the knee is open, the hand is down. When the knee falls toward the left leg, we're sliding that arm up and we're looking to the left. The arm slides down, the knee comes back up. You'll notice the rocking of the pelvis when we bring the knee up. We're just going to go into an action here that allows the body to find a nice side stretch on the left side. One more time. And then we bring it back to center. Stretch the legs out long, roll them in and out. Then we're going to float those feet back up to constructive rest posture. When we arrive here, we're going to arch and flatten the back. So we arch the low back, lifting it up. And then on the exhale, we're going to flatten the low back. Notice what happens with the head when we arch. The head tips away. When we flatten, the chin comes toward the heart. Just going back and forth with breath. One of our favorite low back 101 postures. And now we're going to do the addition as we pause in the center. We're going to flatten, press into the right shoulder as we roll down and flatten. So the shoulder blades sinking into the mat. And we're continuing our arching and flattening. The reminder here is soft, gentle, small movements. There's no destination with this action. It's just waking up the spine. And then we're going to pause, switch to the left shoulder blade. Begin that arching and flattening. You might really notice when that shoulder blade is anchored, there's more arching on one side of the spine than the other. We're not exaggerating that. We're just allowing it to be. Soft, slow, gentle movement. And then we come back to neutral. We're going to bring our attention to the right leg now. We're going to draw that right leg up and in for a hug. Do a gentle pull and release as you draw it in. Drawing it in, letting it move away. Drawing it in, letting it move away. The next time we let it move away, we're going to bring that foot a few inches off the floor, and we're going to circle in the hip joint. Doing our best to not swing the lower leg around. We're looking to see if we can connect with the hip joint with this action, switch direction of the circle. And then we're going to take that right ankle and rest it on top of the left thigh, somewhere above the knee. Taking our hand, we're going to take our right hand now. I'm flexing the foot. I'm flexing my right foot. Going to take the hand, press away, and then release. Press away, and then release. We're turning in. We're tuning in to notice the muscles that we're using with that action. So not the arms, but what's happening in the legs. And now release the hand and do that movement with just some musculature. And if that's hard to find, so it wraps up in here, in the inner thighs, in the inner groins. There's a lot of movement here. If it's hard to connect with moving it without the hand, you can always go back to the hand. And then we're going to pause. Just settle for a moment. And now we're going to take the right hand and we're going to draw that leg toward the center of the body. Draw the leg toward that center line of the body. I'm keeping my foot flexed, drawing the leg to the center line, noticing the muscles that are working here. And then without the hand, explore this. So drawing that leg in and then releasing. It's like catch and release. We're catching and releasing. You might notice the inner thigh is starting to really feel like something's happening here. The inner thighs work with that piriformis muscle that's in the glutes. It gets tight and pinches the sciatic nerve. So this can be helpful. And now we're going to pause. Keep the knee, keep the ankle where it is. And now we're going to arch and flatten. Make sure the head is following this. So this whole spine is activated. And maybe we can pay attention to what muscle groups are lighting up when we do this. I'm really feeling it in my piriformis, which is in my glutes, really feeling it there. You notice where you're sensing it. Then we're going to come back to neutral. Unwrap that leg. Bring the foot to rest on the mat. Notice the right side of the body and the left side of the body. What's happening here? one of the things that happens to us when we're exploring work, especially for me, a lot of it's in the low back or the knee. I find that I guard myself. I get scared that if I move too far, that I'm going to hurt myself. That's why we really focus on small, subtle motions so that the nervous system can stand down and figure out how to release into the postures that we're doing. We're going to come now to the left leg. We're going to draw the leg in and then let it move a little away, pull it in and away, pulling it in, letting it move away. One more time. And now we're going to bring that foot about an inch or two off the floor. And we're going to circle the hip joint. Switch direction. Pause and slowly bring that ankle up above the right knee, somewhere on the thigh. Left hand comes into action and we press and release the thigh. Press the thigh away and then release. Press the thigh, keep the foot flexed and release, keep the foot flexed and press. And then releasing the hand, do that action. Press away using the musculature. Press away using the muscles in the legs, in the groin, in the glutes. Feel that action. And again, if it's hard to find those muscles to activate, return to using the hand. We're going to pause here. And now we're going to take the left hand and draw the leg toward the center line and then release. Draw toward the center line and release. You'll notice there's a little rocking in the pelvis, release. When we notice the right side, we may notice different muscles working on the left side. There's a whole configuration of muscles that are activated here. And it can just show us that one side is more stressed in one area than the other. Release the hand. Bring that knee, to center and then open. To center and then open. To center, then open. We're going to pause. And now we arch and flatten the back. And now let's stop. Release the leg. Return it to the floor. Notice right and left side. And then slide the legs out long. If that's too hard on the low back, you can always just come to constructive rest. But if the legs are long, we can shake them. If we're in constructive rest, we can rock them. All right, floating the arms out to T, we're going to bring our feet back to constructive rest. We're going to take the left leg and drape it over the right. So we're coming secretary style. We're noticing the right edge, the outer edge of the right foot connect with pinky toe side of the right foot. And we're going to take a rock to the right side and back to center. We're rocking to the pinky toe side of the right foot and back to center. We're just going back and forth here. So this is a little bit of a twist, right? We're going to take this twist a little bit deeper in just a moment, but get the sensation here so that when we move into a deeper twist, if it doesn't feel good, just come back to this. This should feel just fine. We're going to stop and hold in the center. Now we're going to arch and flatten the back again. So we're arching and flattening, arching and flattening, finding our breath as we do this. The next time we flatten, we're going to take it into a little bit of a deeper twist. So bringing the body over to the right side. If you have a block, if this is feeling too stressful, you can bring a block under the knee, or you could slide it under the foot if the foot doesn't want to reach the ground. We're just going to allow ourselves to be here with a little gentle rocking. So that's why it can be helpful maybe to have something under the foot if the foot's not on the ground. Just rocking a little bit right and left. Then pause and hold. See if we can soften with our breath. And we're going to come back to center, and to do this, soft, gentle, small movement. So the hands are at T. Use them to actually press a little bit into the floor. That'll help roll us back to center. Extend both legs. Roll them out. Then we're going to slide our feet back up. Arms are at T. We're going to take that left leg up and over again, secretary style. And this time we're going to roll to the left and back to center. And we're not going far, rolling just to the edge of the pelvic bowl. And then back to center. Small, soft, gentle movements. Maybe noticing that the head turns here also. And then we'll unwrap that leg. And we'll switch. Now the right leg's going to come up and over. We're gently going to rock to the left and back to center. Don't have to go very far. We'll get to the deeper twist in a moment. We're just feeling our way into this, noticing what's happening with the head. Every time we go to the left, do we notice that the head wants to move in that direction? We're rocking to the pinky toe side of the left foot. We're engaging that side of the foot. Oh. We're going to come to a pause. And we're going to prepare to twist now to the left side. So maybe you'll want a block for under the foot. Maybe you won't. Sometimes the right and left sides are very different. We're doing a little rocking here. Not a lot. Ooh, there's a nice stretch. Yeah. Keeping the foot, the right foot is touching on something, either a block or the floor. Those arms at T can really be used to help bring us back to center slowly and gently. When we're back at center, we're going to stretch our legs out long, roll them out. Then slide them back up. Constructive rest. And then the right leg goes back over the top. This time we're rocking to the right and back to center. Not going very far. This isn't a deep twist. This is a happy hip movement. And then we're going to come back to center. One more time, we're going to extend our legs, rock them out. And then sliding the feet back up. Constructive rest. We're going to be using a belt for this next practice. We're familiar with it. It's Padangustasana, single leg stretch or hand to big toe stretch. Before we get there, we're just going to pause and breathe, noticing the back of the head first. Noticing the pelvis. Has anything shifted? Lifting the toes and then releasing spread toes to the mat. Taking a strap, we're going to draw the right leg up and in, loop the strap over the arch of the foot. We're going to have a bend in the knee. We're going to want to have that knee coming toward the heart. So bend the knee as much as needed for that to happen. If the leg is straight, that's okay. We're all going to be bending and straightening the knee. If it feels good and it's easy on the body, stretch the left leg out long. Both feet are going to be flexed here. And then we're going to bend the knee and straighten the knee any amount. Doesn't have to be totally straight. We're bending and lengthening, breathing, keeping the feet active. One more bend and straighten or lengthen. That's a better word. Going to slide the left foot up, draw it into the strap. Right foot releases to the mat. Decide whether or not the right leg wants to be long or would rather stay in constructive rest. Both feet are flexed. Draw that leg closer to the torso with a bent knee as much as needed. Now join me as we bend and lengthen. Bend and lengthen, keeping both feet active. And last one. Slide the right foot up. Release the left foot to the floor. Strap is released. If it's comfortable, slide both legs out long and roll them. Now we're going to come to our block. So the block has 3 sides. The skinniest, it's like this. I call it baby bear. Middle size. And then full length. We're going to start with this full length. And we're going to place it between, we'll be on our back. We're going to place it between our thighs. I'm going to keep this angle. It's just easier to see. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to squeeze the block, but we're using the outer edges of our feet. So connect with the outer edges of the feet. So the block is above the knee. You'll notice this makes the knees about as wide as the pelvis, maybe a little wider. We're going to press into the outer edges of the feet, breathe in, and on the exhale, squeeze the block using the outer foot as the pressure, and then release. Outer edge of the feet, squeeze the block on the exhale. The inhale is a release. The exhale, we squeeze. And the inhale is a release. One more time. Outer edges of the feet. Ho, as we squeeze. And then we pause. We're going to take the block. And now we're going to turn it to the middle side. That comes between the thighs. We will notice that this brings our feet about hip width apart, more or less. We're going to do that same outer edge of the foot engagement. So pressing into the outer edges of the foot. On the exhale, squeeze the block. On the inhale, let everything soften. On the exhale, outer edges of the foot, squeeze. Inhale and soften. Exhale and squeeze. Inhale and soften. Exhale and squeeze. Pause here. Get that block. And now we're going to turn it to the lowest notch. So this may allow the feet to be in proximity. They may actually be touching, or maybe just a couple inches apart, depending on the width of the block you're using. Breathe in. On the exhale, outer edges of the feet engage as we squeeze the block. Inhale to soften. Exhale to squeeze. Inhale to soften. Exhale to squeeze. Inhale to soften. Exhale to squeeze. And inhale to soften, remove the block. Set it to the side. Come on to the back. We're in constructive rest posture. Allow the breath to deepen here. We're going to walk our feet toward each other so that the insteps touch. Float the arms out to T. And then gently take the knees to the left side first. Coming into a gentle twist. Stack the insteps so the soles of the feet are facing the same direction. They're looking to the right. If the shoulders are settled on the floor, the head can turn softly to the right side. If the shoulders are not feeling settled, just keep the eyes looking at the ceiling. We're breathing here. And one more breath. Head comes back to center. Gentle roll back to center. Feet touch. The insteps are going to stay in contact as we travel to the right side now. The soles of the feet are aiming to the left. Shoulders resting easily on the floor. We can turn our head to the left. We're breathing here. Oh. If your head's turned, it comes back to center. And then with a gentle roll across the back of the pelvis, we come back to center, arch and flatten, arch and flatten, arch. The next time we flatten, we're going to draw both knees into the heart, take them as wide as the torso, hold behind the knees, or if we can keep the knees wide and the feet wide, we can roll into a happy baby. But the adaptation is holding behind the knees. No stress. Remember, soft, gentle movements here. Then the feet are going to come back to the mat. Pause in constructive rest. Notice the weightedness of the head now. Did anything change? Connect with the pelvis. Is it the same, or did something change? And then feeling our way into our feet, notice, has anything altered since we laid down to begin our practice? And now we're just going to let go of everything as we slide into our version of Shavasana, or final resting posture, and we'll settle here. And allow ourselves to let go of everything. Now gently begin to deepen the breath. Drawing the breath into the fingers and the toes and finding a really nice stretch. And when you're ready, today's thought is from Iyengar. In whatever position one is in, or in whatever condition in life one is placed, one must find balance. Balance is the state of the present, the here and now. When you're ready, find your way to seated. We're going to open our arms wide to gather all the blessings that already exist in appreciation and gratitude. Draw them into our hearts. And together we say, Namaste.